Owen's speed was fired up at the weekend by his desire to reinstate himself with City, and their public, and there he is rattling Preston early on. Next, Owen took part in a nice flowing move, which ends with Fitzpatrick being brought down. There's the young midfield player striding through, and Preston's centre-half is booked for that one. And from the free kick, Gordon Owen at last enjoyed some luck in his career. The deflection there off the wall brings him a goal, and all of Gordon Owen's frustrations could be seen. Well, that really lifted the lad, and he wandered all over the place, setting up one chance after another. And really, City could have buried Preston before half-time, couldn't they? There's Owen laying one on for young Tanner. Now it's Marshall making progress down the right, laying one on for Walsh, and his left foot is usually much better than that. There's Russell Bromwich, the new left-back, taking part in a move. He impressed in all sorts of ways. That's Tanner. He had a good game overall, and Walsh shows that that left foot can really get it right at times, can't it? But Joe Jordan can't quite get over that one. But Jordan was to make up now with a lovely pass. Watch this. That's perfect weight on that one. And Fitzpatrick's away, brought down, to penalty it's going to be. And you're quite right, Gordon Owen's not going to take it. Not likely. Walsh did, though. Whoops, 2-0. And Walsh was really in the game now. He lays a chance on for Newman there. Good shot, comes back off the post. And there's that man, Owen, knocking it into the net that he missed in so disastrously last season. But City's defence struggled sometimes against set pieces. And that was how Preston were to get a consolation goal near the end. Here comes the long free kick. And City are a little bit odds and ends there in defence, aren't they? But as Brazil knocks that one in, the City crowd knew overall their team had played well. It was a good 3-1 win to launch the league season.
Dominated from the start. Only the woodwork denied David Moyes there. Gordon Owen was all fired up to atone for his sending off last week, which had led to City being dumped into a 3-goal deficit. City's early goal was to come from Owen's final touch. The next Owen effort needed the woodwork to keep it out. Then this man-inspired Owen was to score again. And Swindon's lead is slipping now. When Owen began the move which ended with City being awarded a penalty, Swindon's crisis had really deepened. But from Alan Walsh's spot kick, Fraser Digby showed why he's an England under-21 goalkeeper. And then David Bamber's 23rd minute goal for Swindon eased their anxieties. But City were to strike yet again. A little bit of luck for Gordon Owen coming up now. He missed kicks there, but it's young Tanner knocking it home. 3-1 to City on the night. But in the second half, Swindon needed another superb Digby save. Then Bamber bamboozles City's defence for a penalty for them. And Steve Berry shows how to score from the spot. But still City believed, and Walsh was to make a chance that young Tanner was to waste. Lovely skills from Walsh. The ball breaks out to Tanner, but he can't keep it on time. Another effort from Walsh, but Swindon's splendid captain Calderwood rescues them on the line. What a match, and at the end, the crowd showed their appreciation for a memorable
that special edge that only the local derby produces, and that tension often makes one team nervous but lifts the other. And it was the Rovers who were lifted. They started much the better against an anxious City. Look at that anxious mistake there, lets in Purnell, but what a good save by City's goalkeeper. But Keith Woff was to then find Vaughan Jones's free kick, getting past him. 1-0 to the Rovers. Soon Keith Woff, though, redeemed his reputation by an excellent save from Devon White. And what a shame that some spectators insulted White with racist chants. Towards half-time, City began to motor. Gary Marshall's wing play brought the opening, and Alan Walsh the equaliser. Lovely centre, firm header, 1-1. And soon Alan Walsh showed what a fierce free-kick merchant he can be. Look at that, whack. Carter can't hold it, but Devon White there rescuing Rovers. But it was the Rovers starting the second half again the better, especially Andy Rees. How about this for a long-range shot? The same corner of the same net that Gary Smart knocked in Rovers' winning goal last season. But again the City were to get level, and it was young Fitzpatrick reading the play better from this free kick than Timmy Carter. Again the Rovers came, and now look out for this marvellous save by Keith Woff. Purnell again dangerous, knocks it in. There's Penrice's header. Woff going the wrong way, gets a hand to it. But City were now to lead for the first time. Joe Jordan's classy header, Moyes in position. A joyful lead, but then came City's chance to surely clinch the result. That's a miscue from Marshall, but Walsh's header is not on target. Well, that man White again was to rattle the City, getting past Newman, lots of strength, but again Woff's goalkeeping saves the home side. Then Rovers were to be saved by an offside decision which goes against Steve Neville. Now watch closely. Is he offside now? I don't think he is. That man on the left kept him on, but the linesman decided it was. And finally the Rovers were to equalise 7 minutes from time when Ian Holloway cashed in on some naive City play. That ball's given away. Now instead of forcing him outside, City led him inside and he punished them. So as the final whistle went, spectators and players alike joined in the applause to salute an epic derby. Gillingham's 9th minute free kick was partially cleared by a City defence, but then they're slow to cover back, and Steve Lovell put Gillingham in front. City's defence was to be broken again after 24 minutes. Not too much danger until this shot by Smith, and Woff in goal is unsighted. That's 2-0 to the visitors. But Alan Walsh's wing tricks were to spark the comeback. There he is, a little bit of magic, foxing the defenders. There's the cross. Joe Jordan nods it down, and there's Gordon Owen pouncing. After an hour, Walsh's centre found Paul Fitzpatrick arriving nicely, and that's City level. And the home fans enjoyed that, but not what happened only a minute later. Now how's this for a splendid diving header by Carl Elsey? That's Gillingham in front again, but Elsey's joy lasted only 4 minutes because he was sent off after being booked twice in the match. So City had 26 minutes left against 10 men, and soon Owen had them level again from Neville's pass. That's 3 goals each. And City almost taking the lead now with this effort from Walsh from long range. And then with Gordon Owen going down in the box, a penalty chance decided the referee. But Rob Newman's inaccurate effort and Neville hitting the woodwork with the follow-up continues City's how hard he's finding it to add goals this season to all the good assisting work he puts into City's attacks. Well, it was Jordan who was to head the ball down for Fitzpatrick to shoot. There it is. That effort's blocked, but Gordon Owen cashed in for his goal number 8 of the season. And in the second half, it was Owen's shot being kept out by the busy visitors' defence, only to give Rob Newman a chance, which he put home very powerfully indeed, 2-0 to the City. Well, Chesterfield were to get a goal back, but have a look now and decide if you think that Dave Waller is offside there as he knocks the ball home. Slow motion for you to have another look. Was there a City player out of picture playing Waller onside? Well, the opinion of the City players is clear there. They protest, but not to worry, they stay top of the table and unbeaten in 10 matches. He was going to score. Saturday's game against Southend, he did everything right except the ball ended up behind him. Still goalless, I'm afraid, for 5 months. City had their early luck, the woodwork about to help them here. Southend, who beat Derby in the Cup midweek, looking pretty dangerous early on. Robinson it is, hitting the crossbar. Well, that pressure resulted in a 36-minute goal. Keith Cole's poor clearance from this header allowed Martin Robinson to nip behind City's defence, and he did the rest. City equalised 4 minutes later when Martin tapped the heel of David Moyes free in the penalty area. Mr. Paul Danson spotted that and then the ball. Up stepped Rob Newman to send Steele the wrong way to make it 1 apiece. 2 minutes into the second half, Moyes was at fault when he was caught flat-footed. The move comes from a little chip into the box here. Moyes caught flat-footed, as I say. Roy McDonough cuts inside down the line and chips one. The 100 or so Southend fans rather happy with their 2-1 lead.
City's reply was sensational. It came 20 minutes later. Russell Bromwich on the wing sent in the perfect cross. And look out for the diving Paul Fitzpatrick. Action speaks much louder than words. Surely a candidate for our best goal competition this month. Bristol City's winner coming up now. Owen's cross is mistimed by Martin. You can see him stretching, doesn't quite get to it. Newman gets the ball under control, into the penalty area, and whack. So 3-2 to City, and with the whistle in the referee's mouth, Southend came so near to tying it up again. But that's the sort of luck coming up that City will need to get out of that
crowd at Ashton Gate was first division class, over 15,000 people, more than at any of last night's first or second division matches, and they saw City's defence fragile there in the first minute, enabling Gary Owers to score for Sunderland. Well, City's replies were to be frequent enough, but their finishing proved awry. Gordon Owen's header here looked acrobatic but inaccurate. And Sunderland's goalkeeper Ian Hesford, brother of the Bristol rugby coach Bob, had an inspired night. He got down to thwart City and he got up to divert that one onto the crossbar and deny Steve Galliers. Finally, Jordan's header released Steve Neville. He veered nicely past the goalkeeper but wasted the equalising chance. So Sunderland could come off to celebrate 5 consecutive victories. That's impressive. City went home losers in one of the season's big matches.
Swansea as if they're already confident of reaching their 3rd successive Wembley final. They created many chances, and this one the first attacking move of the match. In the 6th minute, Gordon Owen's cross was misjudged, and the ball fell kindly to Alan Walsh. A low shot found the goal. Walsh delighted, as to the 5,037 fans. City's second came just before half-time. The move developed from this corner. The ball eventually back to Alan Walsh. He got behind Swansea's defence, chipped, and there was Carl Shutt heading home. That was Shutt's first goal, scored at Ashton Gate, and City now are assured of going into the next round.
Walsh decided to shoot from such an acute angle that Aylesbury's goalkeeper would have had to duck to let that ball in. A less greedy City though when Walsh and Carl Shutt put together a much more professional move. But when the good chance came in front of goal, first Colwell and then Owen missed both chances. Aylesbury sometimes attacked pretty promisingly. How's this for a strong diving header? Pretty close to the mark. And City's new teenage goalkeeper Mark Coombe was to suffer some pretty dodgy moments. In fact, it took City 62 minutes to get their noses in front. When Tony Caldwell, who was also guilty of shooting from bad positions earlier, showed he was rather better at close-range headers. Still time for a late scare for young Coombs and City, but he was to tidy up his own mistake, and City managed the right result from the wrong. Neville making an opening there for Carl Shutt, but Mike Stowell, the Chester goalkeeper, was really in form. And so was Prado, City's loan signing. He had to be smart there. But away comes City, and now it's Gordon Owen getting through to set up a chance for Marshall. But again, that man Stowell saved superbly. Well, now City's problem started. Rob Newman there had misjudged the ball to let Rimmer away, and then he pulled him down, pulled him back rugby style, and Rimmer punished him with a well-taken penalty kick. And now another defensive blunder here by Llewellyn. Doesn't anticipate that one properly, lets it run, and Chester are in now to set up all sorts of problems for City. And just watch the way that Warwick Rimmer threads that ball home past 3 men. That's why he's the leading goal scorer in Division 3 with 18 goals. But Newman makes up with a nice pass through to Bromwich, who's brought over. Some thought it was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, but the referee's the man who matters. He decided it was a penalty. Newman took it, and he's lucky because it comes back off the post precisely to him, and he's a strong lad, he forced it home. So 2-1, City back in business. And when Joe Jordan returned after 3 matches out with injury, City's aerial attack again improved, and Carl Shutt was to get the message in the air when young Fitzpatrick laid on a super ball, and how about that for a great header? Carl Shutt liked that one. That's 5 goals in 5 matches, and that's a good purchase clearly, and the crowd enjoyed that. And Shutt and Neville almost toppled Chester again. They almost get the winner here, but Chester somehow just scrape it off the line there, don't they? And again, City looked like getting the winner when Humphreys knocked this one in. Jordan wins it in the air nicely there and doesn't knock that one home. But the referee had spotted an infringement, he said, indicating to Jordan there, and he ruled that one off. And finally, it was going to be a chance for Neville, but it was one of those days when everything fell for that Chester goalkeeper. Well played to him. So frustrations for City. Winger who's seeking a transfer because his wife wants to return to Yorkshire. Owen showed what an asset he can be to any team. It was to be Owen's centre with a clever dummy from Steve Neville there, which let in Steve Galliers. The lead for City and a first City goal for the midfield player signed for £37,000 from Wimbledon. But City were to let the bottom team in Division 3 equalise within a minute. First of all, the home defence hardly helps itself. The defender now doesn't really get anything on that ball, and the ball itself takes a deflection off the frozen pitch, and poor Keith Watt not at all pleased. But Galliers, City's captain, was driving his team forward all the time. And watch now how he centres and Carl Shutt controls that beautifully. Owen takes over the chance, but knocks it over the top. Still, Owen kept going, and it was Shutt's lovely pass there, which released Christian Honour. His centre comes in, and neither Walsh nor Shutt can quite get enough of the ball to score. But now this is a good move. Galliers starts it. Owen joins in. So does Newman. City really playing keep ball here. Back to Owen. This is where Newman does well now. He's got forward, and when the ball takes a deflection off a York player, there's Newman getting it back for City. A lovely ball from Shutt. Walsh is released. A nice steepling cross for the tall Fitzpatrick, and that's City back in the lead. But York's defence really looking substandard early in the second half now, isn't it, when it lets City score its third goal. Look at that. Oh dear me. But Dale Banton was to reduce York's deficit again. Look, good finishing, isn't it? He's the player that City were going to buy a while ago, but his knees didn't pass the medical. But they weren't too bad on Saturday. In fact, it was Banton towards the end of the match who was to give City their last scare. But City's team overall certainly deserved their final score of a 3-2 win. And it takes them up
28 minutes into the first half. Neville and Newman worked the ball well into Fulham's penalty area. Shutt pounced. A first-time shot beating Jim Stannard. Shutt's big night was underway. 3 minutes later, Paul Fitzpatrick opened Fulham's defence, and there was Shutt again to stroke the ball into a vacant Fulham net. 7 minutes after that, Neville centred. And Shutt scored his hat-trick. 3 goals in 10 minutes. Some night for Carl. City should have made it 4-0 here, but Paul Fitzpatrick missed an early Christmas present. In fact, it's hard to see how the ball didn't go in. The City win was then marred by a sending-off incident. Young Chris Honour tangled with Clive Walker, who's clearly after an equity ticket. The end result was marching orders for both players, and perhaps the referee was a bit severe. Anyway, the red card costing him a week's wages. 9 minutes from time, Shutt was at it again. This time a goal set up by himself, out to Newman. His shot is parried. Watch the rebound. Then an embarrassing crash into an advertising hoarding. But Shutt happy with the gift by his teammates of that 4-goal match ball.
Carl, when did you last score 4 in a match?
Oh, I can't remember. I remember the last time I scored a hat-trick was against Birmingham at Aylesbury. We won 6-1. I scored a hat-trick then.
But you didn't get them in 10 minutes.
No, I quite enjoyed that. It'll be a nice present for that lad for Christmas. Well, being disappointed about the 4th with winning towards Clyde, and then I got tripped up with Mowbray. Felt a bit of a...
Yes. Well, that's 10 goals from Shutt in 10 matches. City move up to 7th. The top 5 is the target for the promotion. And Gary Lund gives Notts County the lead. The same old story for City fans, with the league's oldest club staying in front during the first half. But in that second half, City improved. And they were to equalise with a very well-taken goal from Alan Walsh. Then with half an hour left, City's new assistant manager, Joe Jordan, was brought on. And with Walsh catching City's defence out with a lovely early accurate centre, Jordan's famous heading expertise
scored a super and crucial goal. No wonder he looked so pleased. And afterwards I spoke with that delighted Joe Jordan.
You came on with half an hour to go. What were your thoughts as you came on?
Well, when I was warming up, just as I was warming up, Walsh went and scored the goal. And around about that time, we started to dictate the game more, and we were pressing, and we were looking a better team and the stronger team. So around about that period, I thought that the game was there. The 3 points were there to be won. When I came on, we forced the game, continued to force the game, and I thought that we did win the game, and I thought we deservedly did so.
How did you see your goal?
I seen it in the back of the net. It was a great ball by Alan Walsh, and there was myself and Carl Shutt, and the twos were in an area. But when you receive a service like that, it makes the whole job a lot easier. As I said, it was me and Carl there, and the ball fell in my area. But the main thing was the actual service.
Valentine's Day came a week early for Bury's Peter Valentine. His header brought no love at all from City's crowd for goalkeeper John Vaughan, caught out in his positioning. But then Vaughan, who's on loan from Fulham, gained favour with the fans with a splendid save. No goals from City by half-time for their fans to discuss, but 2 goals came quickly after the interval. New winger Ralph Milne showed his control in making an opening that Steve Galliers knocked home. What a pity Galliers also got booked and could be suspended soon. Then Ralph Milne showed why Charlton paid Dundee United over £100,000 for him. That's the sort of classy finishing City's crowd had paid to see. But what a nice move Bury were to compose to equalise. And maybe you'll have question marks again about John Vaughan's goalkeeping. Should he have saved that one? Still, City went looking for that winner, and fullback Russell Bromwich got forward. And finally, no doubt about the quality of City's winning move, with Milne exchanging passes with Carl Shutt before the Scottish winger broke away and placed a centre that Alan Walsh headed home quite superbly.
One of those nights, and we've all had them, isn't it, when things simply don't go your way. City had so much possession and put on so much pressure and created so many chances, it looked impossible for them not to score. Neville's corner here provided a good chance for Pender. But the defence hung on, shut back to Neville, and Shutt shot this time, watch it, cleared off the line. Great excitement, but no goals. Now another corner. Neville again Walsall's defence hanging out in desperation, and again the ball failing to find the net. But Walsall's only scoring chance came from this long throw. This time City fans had to hold their breath as the ball scraped the far woodwork. Walsh, long ball into the penalty area for Shutt. Again, the ball just going wide. A repeat, another Walsh centre, this time Neville. His shot is blocked, and then Milne's shot. You'll see here as he comes back, again well saved. Well, the crowd couldn't believe their eyes, and from this free kick, watch that brilliant save from the goalkeeper, Walsh holding his head in disbelief. He thought that was in the back of the net. Moments later, another Walsh free kick, and this time parried away to Milne, but over the top. So it all ended 0-0. City couldn't believe their bad luck.
In a home match, City badly needed to win to revive those promotion dreams. They certainly made the right sort of start. Alan Walsh in perfect position to knock home a third-minute goal. But City's defence did not react at all well enough. Look, a long throw, they're caught napping. Llewellyn gets in a tangle and Tony Adcock equalises. City, in fact, were to fall behind when, as in too many matches lately, the defence just does not cope. When the pressure builds up, City get enough men around the ball in their own box, but they can't lay a boot on it, and it's Phil Chard putting the Midlands team, who are promotion rivals, remember, in front. Well, in the second half, Steve McLaren, one of City's several new signings, he had quite a good match, and he struck this free kick well, but it hit the goal frame, not the back of the net. Well, City's fans couldn't complain their team was short of movement forward, but the finishing was never inspired enough. City pressed, but they couldn't find the right sort of move to get past that goalkeeper. Promotion remains a possibility, but only if Terry Cooper's reshaped reshaped team knits together more convincingly. They built up pressure, nice little back heel there from Walsh, and finally Northampton's Graham Reid turned the ball into his own net. So City salvaged the point, but they really needed 3 if promotion was to be a realistic idea. Free kick broke City for Don O'Riordan's 64th minute goal. City's attacks had been so disjointed up to then, they could not complain at being behind. They soon were almost 2 goals down, but goalkeeper Keith Woff saved well from Kevin Jobling. Then City made a double substitution with only 15 minutes left. Captain Steve Galliers was to be taken off, so too the £55,000 striker Carl Schutt. Steve Neville, wearing 14, and Chris Honor brought on. And City were to score within 2 minutes of this double substitution. And watch for substitute Neville thoughtfully getting out of the way so Alan Walsh there can cut the ball home. Nevertheless, City's 4th home match in succession without a win. So what was the verdict then from the City dressing room?
Very disappointed, Roger. I think it was a bad performance, really. We needed 3 points a day and we got 1, which is, I suppose, 1's better than nothing, but we needed the 3, I think.
Now today, the double substitution was swiftly followed by the goal. That was ideal from City's point of view.
Yeah, it was. When it's not going right, I think up front you've got to make changes, and the gaffer did so, and we got the goal.
What do you remember of the play and the goal?
I think it got knocked out to Andy Llewellyn and he nodded it back, and it hit me on the thigh. Steve never said turn. I just turned, and I think there was about 2 City players on the ball. I just shouted leave it, and I just hit it, and hopefully it went in the back of the net.
Ending almost 5 months for him without a goal. Well, Bristol City totally dominated this game, as Swindon did, this time against Rotherham. Here, Llewellyn and McLaren caused havoc in the Northern's defence. No City player there to get that all-important touch. Debutant Gordon's aero power was decisive. Here he sets up Steve Neville, who single-handedly beat the whole Rotherham defence. There he goes, looks up, lays back the perfect ball to Ralph Milne. A great shot, but coming off the post and eventually cleared. Well, second half now, City's first goal came rather luckily from a dubious penalty decision as Nigel Johnson tripped Neville. Johnson incidentally was to be sent off minutes later. Up stepped Colin Gordon, who scored from the spot, ending a run of 22 games for him without a goal. Well, Gordon is probably still kicking himself today because he should have scored a second moments later when the Rotherham defence was pressured into an awful mistake. Watch the back pass. There's Gordon, but he blasted over the bar. Well, Steve Neville made it 2-0 when he scored his first goal in something like 23 weeks. Poor old Paul Crichton grasping air as the ball smashed into the back of the net. So a 2-0 victory for new manager Joe Jordan, who thanked his side for a controlled performance, which clearly keeps Bristol City in the promotion. With another win, this time over Blackpool, mind you, Steve Neville could easily have had a hat-trick in the first 20 minutes. That sort of miss must have had Joe Jordan fidgeting on his sideline seat. Well, in the 25th minute, City took the lead, but again, looked less than confident of eventually slotting the ball into the net. Gordon and Neville created the opening. Steve McLaren's shot found the net, but it ricocheted off the goalkeeper's body first. Now, then, just before the interval, Colin Gordon ended up with a great scoring chance. But he watched his fellow slip harmlessly across the goal mouth. Second half, 50 minutes had gone when a rare Blackpool foray saw Mark Taylor tie things up. City's winner came from this move, and a handball incident. Milne centres, the ref considered Deary there, had deliberately handled the ball and pointed at the spot. Gordon grabbed the ball, put it in the back of the net to make the final result 2-1.
Since then, everything's gone City's way.
Well, in football you need a little bit of luck and the run of the ball, especially in front of goal. And for most of this season we never really had any luck, but over the last few weeks that luck's changed a little bit and it's rained for us.
Has Joe Jordan done enough, you think, to secure the manager's job?
Well, we've lost 2 games out of the 11 he's been in charge, so he can't do much more than that.
Is he the player's choice?
Most definitely, yeah.
Fans ran on from the enclosure and Doncaster Rovers' 17-year-old left back was attacked.
He had to be persuaded to stay on as the police brought in mounted officers to regain control. As the game reached its climax, fans spilled back onto the touchline and the referee briefly stopped play to warn the crowd. But some kept encroaching and the final whistle sparked another invasion. Again, there were violent incidents. 2 more Doncaster players were attacked and linesman John Roost was knocked to the ground. Bristol City officials today warned their fans that they could be fenced in for the vital playoff matches. Doncaster's assistant manager Joe Kinnear thought the referee should have pulled the players off.
I think this will highlight that it's got to be put in proportion for when they're playing the playoffs, because if this was in the playoffs, it would have been chaos. I'm sure it would have been chaos. So when they play Sheffield United, they've really got to get it together. Things have got to be done for safety reasons. I wouldn't like to think that this would reflect on anything that Joe Jordan has done. He's done a smashing job getting them this far. On the other hand, this sort of thing's got to be stamped out.
9 people were arrested at the match. The police and club officials are meeting to discuss future security arrangements at Aggregate, and a report has been sent to the FA.
Out of 18,300, that's 11,000 more than the previous home match. But a shock for the home fans when City's offside trap is sprung early on, and Doncaster have a wonderful chance to take the lead, but Les Robinson wastes his moment. Soon though it was City making the running and making one opening after another. There's Walsh with a good shot. And the excellent McLaren, but Doncaster's young defenders were stubborn, and they broke out on occasions too, and nearly took the lead again there, but Walsh, of all people, the attacker, was back to help out the defence. Was Neville not able to put that ball in the net for City? And watch now as young Sam Ways, the Doncaster goalkeeper, survived all different sorts of ways. In the second half, young Brian Dean for Doncaster, revealing that they hadn't come to lie down. The crowd grew restless, and City's acting manager brought himself on to try and make the difference. And indeed, his physical presence was to bring the breakthrough in the form of a penalty. Some thought it was a lucky award, but City weren't to grab their luck because Colin Gordon was to waste the penalty, just like Gordon Owen did in the same match last year. But Gordon kept hunting for goals, and finally he got the all-important winner. Now, some people thought he'd fouled the goalkeeper. I didn't. Judge for yourself as you see it again. I thought Colin Gordon did nothing wrong and had some luck and took advantage of it when Sam Ways couldn't hold on to that ball. Well, now with the crowd spilling onto the pitch at that stage and later invading the touchlines, the referee had to hold the match up whilst the crowd was cleared back. And at the final whistle, Doncaster claimed that 3 of their players were knocked to the ground and abused, and a linesman too. But a final score with the rights of the look for jubilant City fans, most of whom did behave themselves on their big day. And after a delighted Joe Jordan had had time to put some clothes on, why, he came down and talked to us. Well, congratulations on reaching the playoffs, Joe. Same game.
Yeah, very tense game, very tense, and in the way it has been for a number of weeks now. I'm glad it's that part of the situation's over. Now we're going to the playoffs and we've got to start again. There's still a bit to do, but at least we're giving ourselves an opportunity to get into the second division.
All right, Colin, very important goal, a controversial one. What's your view of it?
I think the referee and linesman did a good job. I think, as you said to me earlier, it was a typical old centre-forwards goal. Keepers get over-protected these days. I think we arrived at the ball at the same time. I took it with my foot, I didn't use my hands at all, and he broke nicely for me. I just put it away, turned round to check, as you always do, because you can't be sure with referees and linesmen these days, and he gave it. They both running that way, so I tried to run as well, but my legs wouldn't carry me, so I just flopped on the floor about halfway, and everybody else carried me.
Yes, a crowd of over 25,000, or 3 times the average First Division gate of the new FA Cup holders, Wimbledon. Sheffield United made the first chance, dragging City's defence right out of position. But Peter Beagrie missed a good chance. Soon Alan Walsh's superb long passes meant that City was stretching the second division team's defence. Gordon's flick on, but Rob Newman can't quite get through. Keith Wharf, City's former Sheffield United goalkeeper, saving well from Richard Cadet. And Walsh's tricks led to Graham Benstead having to give us a reminder of the Wimbledon goalkeeper's frantic survival at Wembley the day before. But close on half-time, Steve McLaren's long throw and John Pender's back header, and Alan Walsh relishes the chance to put City ahead. In the second half, it's Alan Walsh continuing to organise, but Steve Neville just off target. Sheffield could just not subdue Walsh. There's his tricks, but City couldn't find the penetration for that vital second goal. Another superb crossfield pass there from Walsh. Manager Joe Jordan brought himself on and linked with the other substitute, Carl Shutt, to make an opening. And this time it fell to Walsh. Could he score? No, he blasted his shot against the goal flag. Still, yet again, City have conceded no goals. That's only 5 conceded in their last 12 games. So I began by talking with centre-back John Pender.
John, what's the feeling in the dressing room about 1-0? We're happy with 1-0. We haven't given a goal away, given them nothing to hang on to, and it's just down to the second leg now. And hopefully we can hold tight in the second leg.
Yet another clean sheet by the City defence, John. You'll be pleased about that.
It's not just the defence, it starts up front, they're defending it. We defend as a team and we attack as a team. And it's credit to all the team, not just the defence.
I knew it would be difficult, and they proved it, especially in the first half. And we got the vital goal. I would have liked another goal, but in saying that, I'm glad we've kept the clean sheet. I think that is vital.
How confident are you that that's enough?
Yeah, I'm confident. You know, that's 5 games in a row we've won.
What about the size of this gate? 25,500.
Yeah, we've got the fans right behind us, not only vocally but in numbers as well. And now that we've got them, the hard part is actually to keep them here, and that's what myself and the players and everyone connected with are going to try and do. And by getting in the same division, I think that'll go a long way to doing that. But it's going to be hard, but yeah, I'm confident.
Missed an early chance to cancel City's 1-goal advantage from the first leg, but it was Carl Shutt who, after 17 minutes, increased City's lead. It could have been 3 as Alan Walsh's free kick comes off the post. City dominated the first half, but Sheffield weren't going down without a fight. Richard Cadet, always looking dangerous, set up Colin Morris for a spectacular goal. City then sat out a siege as Sheffield came at them time and time again. Cadet finding space in a crowded penalty area, and Llewellyn was forced to clear the rebound off the line. Keith Worth in the City goal cut out several chances as Sheffield struggled for the goal to earn them extra time. But then, after an agonising wait for 5 minutes because of injury time, the City players were delighted. None more so than the former Sheffield Wednesday player Carl Shutt.
We played some good football. We could have had possibly a couple of goals. We only had one, but I mean, it gives us something to fight for. And okay, it's Sheffield United. They battle well.
Now, the second half must have been one of the longest 45 minutes of your life, wasn't it?
Yeah, the nervous. Because I mean, like, for long periods of time, the ball was in our box, and you just stood on the halfway line hoping for just to get a clear break. And there was 4, few in between.
So do you fancy yourself now for second division football?
Yeah. I think we've got the hardest game out of the way.
The club was tarnished yesterday too when some of their fans battled with the police after the club's 4-0 defeat at Walsall. There are claims tonight that the police were heavy-handed.
The trouble began as excited Walsall fans invaded the pitch as the match at Fellows Park drew to a close. Some City supporters, incensed at the magnitude of the defeat, were involved in scuffles and fights as they were herded out of the ground by police with dogs and horses. As a result, 3 policemen were injured and 2 police vans were overturned. 44 people were arrested on various charges of assault, criminal damage and public disorder. But today, many City supporters are saying the violence could have been avoided. Lifelong fan Tony Smith feels so strongly about the police tactics, he's writing to complain to the West Midlands Chief Constable.
Right from the time we got into the ground,
there were an exceptional number of police officers and police dogs covering the area that we were looking onto the pitch from. And the least little incident of anything happening, they were actually pointing fingers at people and escorting them out the ground.
A spokesman for the West Midlands Police said today they'd been anticipating trouble at the match and policed it accordingly. He denied they'd antagonised the fans. At Ashton Gate, Bristol City officials said they had no comment to make. Claire Payne, BBC West in Bristol.
Football was also seen in the West Midlands yesterday, with skirmishes between Walsall and Bristol City supporters. This latest violence was expected to be discussed at a meeting of European sports ministers today in Athens.